So he's a Toronto-based solo artist, obsessed by music, extraordinarily versatile, both in the array of instruments he plays and the genres from which he pulls. Plus, there's the way he's become a one-man band with his looping arrangements, bizarrely cool reworkings of other people's songs. He's a singer-songwriter who has his own pieces, too. You'll hear what I mean shortly as he's brought along his guitar and all the gear associated with looping for a Records and Rockstars in-studio performance. Welcome, Dylan Hennessy.
Thanks, Jeff. It's great to be here.
It's good to see you. You really work hard at getting your music out there because you came from way north of the city via public transportation with a suitcase full of effects and a knapsack and a guitar.
Yeah, I don't travel light.
Art for art's sake?
It's worth it for me to bring it all down. If it's going to make the performance better, and like it's worth it for me to carry it all. Everyone likes it better. I enjoy it more. So it's worth being that annoying guy on the bus who everyone's like, who the hell is this guy?
Have you had a whole band before?
Do play with a band. Got a bass player and drummer, Eric and Rob, and they're great. I'm not playing with them as much right now just because I'm trying to put more focus on solo looping. I'm finding that it's getting a bit more traction and people really enjoy it. It makes it a lot easier for me to go and gig out in a lot of places. You know, for instance, a couple weeks ago, I wanted to go do like 5 shows in a week and was able to do that because it's just me. I love playing with the band. The sound is really big. You know, I kind of come from like a metal and progressive background, so it's nice to be able to break away and do some weird stuff as well, but try to capture that weird energy and put it in a loop.
We'll have you do a couple of performances in a bit here. If someone asked you in, 45 seconds or less what looping is, give them that now, and then we'll come back to it in a bit when you actually set up and play.
Okay, so if you could imagine that I play something on the guitar, and then I hit a button on the ground, and that plays back, and I'm able to play on top of that, you can kind of create a band on the stage, and then what I like to do is put my guitar through a bit of processing, my vocals through some processing, and by doing that, can kind of make them sound like not those things. And use like a wide bank of different sounds and tones from the guitar and voice in order to create sounds in a lot of different genres, and it ends up sounding like a one-man band and a bunch of different sounds. As
you're doing it, it's pretty seamless. I'm sure a lot of people think you're just playing to someone else's music, but in fact, everything that's coming out of the speakers, you've just created while you're on stage.
Right. It's like I bring up a little studio on stage and I do the recording, and like my feet are my producer. It's kind of one way to think about it.
Well, it sounds super cool. We'll get to it in a second. I just want to ask you a couple of questions before you perform.
Sure.
As is often the case, I discover an artist performing somewhere, typically in a club, and I invite them to come here, as you've done, talk about your obsessions and play a little, which I'm pleased you're going to do, Dylan. First I saw you, the guys that booked the show said, wait till you hear this guy. That was at the Horseshoe Tavern for the launch of the Artist Must Go website, Uptrack Music, which is essentially a service for artists to build their career in a way that they couldn't have otherwise done. You played there, and you've played the Opera House, where Metallica recently did a show.
Yeah, crazy. Probably only $900 for a ticket. There you go.
Oh my God, they were going for thousands. I was fortunate to get one. And you've done all kinds of festival dates and showcases. And one really special gig you did in 2016, Dylan. Tell us about winning a trip to Israel in a talent competition and how that all went.
I grew up in a Jewish household and did this Jewish talent show earlier this year. Just some guy I know on Facebook said, like, hey, there's a Jewish talent show that's near your neighborhood. You should check it out. And so I went and looked into it, and I messaged them, is there any prize for this? Yeah, you can win a trip to Israel. I'm like, all right, cool, sign me up. So sent them a video audition, and they got me in on it. It happened in a theater, and again, brought the looping station. I did a looping arrangement of Get Up, Stand Up, done in the style of dubstep, which normally doesn't favor any acoustic instrumentation, is like heavily electronically produced. I was playing to an audience of like 60-year-old Russian women. So I was lucky to win it that night. And was trying to think when I wanted to go to Israel this year, because it was like for airfare to and from Israel whenever I wanted it this year. Yeah. I was really thinking about it, and I've played Indie Week in Toronto a number of times and know the guy that runs that, so they run a Europe counterpart to that, Indie Week Europe, and I messaged him saying like, hey, I'm actually going to be pretty close to Manchester later on this year. Do you think you could hook me up with a festival spot? And so he did, and I planned this trip to Israel around like going there, hanging out for a bit, popping over to Manchester and go do like my first overseas set of shows ever, and hang out in Israel for a little bit more and then come back home. And that was that. It was like my first solo travel of my life, and I learned a lot. It was amazing.
Every proper artist, as every man and woman does, has a goal. Among yours to make a guitar and vocals sound like as many things as possible. How did this become your mandate, your focus?
Over time, gradually, I guess. I want to make a living in music in whatever avenue that presents itself. It's funny, me sitting here, I didn't think I'd be on this side of the microphone. I first went to school at Seneca for radio broadcasting. That was my first plan to get into music, was through radio. And, started performing and just watching what was working best for me. Performance was actually kind of working out, which is funny because, you think like that's the avenue that has the least potential for people to really pan out into successful careers. When you're looking on the whole of music, all the different things you could do, where the money is, probably not in performance.
Because of the times, because of the competition, because of a lot of things.
Because of a lot of things, competition's a big one. Like, honestly, to make it, you have to be on such a higher echelon level. It's like, it's really daunting and you're kind of scared to try and enter into. But one of the things that makes someone able to succeed is, like, especially in today's day and age, is just doing something that hasn't been done, or at least that people don't hear often. And I sort of saw with the looping stuff and the way that I was doing it, I was kind of beginning to get that reaction from people, especially when I did go overseas. And so when I came back, I was just kind of like, all right, this is it. I got to really put all my focus into this. I'm going to carry around a suitcase and a dolly for everything, like at every gig I go to, because this is, I feel like, what's going to work and what I really enjoy to do. So,
Dylan, do you have a fan page on Facebook?
Dylan Hennessy Music. Dylan like Bob, Hennessy like the liquor, spelled the same way.
So let's set up the performance, because I want you to play a couple of tunes. What do you want to play?
Well, we were talking about the Get Up stand-up cover before, so I think I might do that one.
The Marley song, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we have time, I might try and do an original as well.
What is it about the Bob Marley song, Get Up, Stand Up, that you connect with so well?
Well, actually, it started out as a different song. I had made the arrangement first just as like an instrumental piece and was trying to find songs to fit to it. And then my dad suggested to put Get Up, Stand Up into it, and it happened to fit perfectly. So I've been working that piece over the years, and that's the song that fit into it the best. So, I think that's often the case also with a lot of people that are creating electronic music, is like they have the bass for their instrumental first and then find a sample that works with it. Trying to take that sort of mentality over to acoustic instrumentation and think about it the same way that maybe a producer would.
Let's hear it then. It's Dylan Hennessy doing Bob Marley, Get Up, Stand Up, in a way you've probably never heard before.
stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, stand up for your rights.
Man, that was ridiculously good, as all of your performance has been that I've seen to date. So thank you. Dylan Hennessy is here, and he's going to do another song for us. And in terms of playing live, where can one in the Toronto area catch you?
I play gigs all over the city. I run a weekly show at the Cannabis Culture Lounge at Church and Wellesley, which is a really interesting spot. It's a crazy show that we run there. I love it. It's on Thursday nights. It's at 9 o'clock. So I host it. I do a set off the beginning, and one in the middle, and one at the end. And we have a whole bunch of really great artists that come through as well. Cannabis
Culture, Church Street, Dylan Hennessy, Thursday evenings, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Jeff. It was an honor.
What do you want to do now?
I'm going to give this one a shot. This is like one of my newest looping pieces. So we did dubstep. We're going to go into drum and bass now. The name of it is The Mountain. This was one that I wrote 3 days before I left to go overseas. I had a 10-day gap without being able to rehearse the song before its first performance. And so I just had like an MP3 of it and was listening to it over and over and over again, just trying to be like, okay, let me remember how I'm going to play this live, and then hopefully I'll show up at the venue and be able to do it. I went for it. The crowd really reacted in a big way and loved it, so I've just been performing it ever since.
We present on the Records and Rockstars podcast one more time, Dylan Hennessy.
This mountain of mine I have made in my mind. Mind over matter, the mountain is mine. Mind over matter, the mountain is mine. Going off the path, there's no trails there on your ass. I remember now ascension. King is changing aspects. I respected you, your sense of grand adventure. I can trust in my direction, and you're being diplomatic and show me the way. This mountain of mine I am painting in my mind. It grows higher with each passing day, and I'm anxious inside every day. I don't mind, and it seems like there's no way. So I'm taking the first step today. Mind over matter, the mountain is mine. Mind over matter, the mountain is mine. Over matter, the mountain is mine. Mind over matter, the mountain is mine.
There he is, the writer and performer of The Mountain, Dylan Hennessy. If you dug that or any of the other dozens of episodes of the Records and Rockstars podcast, please rate, review, and share. Special thanks to the composer of the Records and Rockstars theme, Derek Atherton. You can find Derek at ingamesound.com. Till next time, I'm Jeff Woods.